It'll be okay.
No.
No. No, it won't be
Fine.
okay.
No, don't give it a hug. We'll pain, no. We won't give you anything you can handle.
Just gotta get your sharp object.
I have my own.
Oh, good. Keep it bigger.
Okay.
I want
I keep it right in the thing.
I wanted to also get 5 bids each year.
Oh, yes, I was going to say. 5
All from the same person?
Right.
Oh, gosh. That's good.
Oh, from the budget committee.
How was that show? That's a good thing.
It was very nice. Yeah, my wife was great.
I think you would have a Melissa Etheridge convert.
Yeah. I was.
Come to my window.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
I was struggling. How her voice? I mean, it's been 30 years since she put music on. I hired any money for a concert in Warrenville. And he got off the bus. Oh God! It should have been this guy. He got off just like the
2 years before Gordon Lightfoot passed away, he came to Maine and we went to the Collins Center. I mean, the guy, he barely made it out on the stage.
First for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call the meeting to order. First order of business is the minutes, resolution 2653, to accept the minutes from the meeting of March 18, 2026.
Come on.
I was on Zoom, so yeah, second.
Yep.
Motion moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Go. Public comment, to allow members of the public to comment or reserve time to speak on an upcoming agenda item.
Mr. Chair, I would say I think we have 2 members of the public from Rockwood on Zoom. I just want to confirm they're here to talk about item 2 under the workshops, the food sovereignty ordinance. And I just want, at this point, just confirm that they can hear us.
I can hear you.
All right.
Hi, I'm here.
And we can hear you. Thank you. Okay, so first is the bid opening for the geotech style fabric for the road maintenance of the unorganized territory. We have 5 bids. So very healthy this time around. One. This is from, who is this from? Whitecap, Augusta, Maine. Our bid is 0.776 cents per square yard for a total of $388 per roll, which equals $11,640.
Can I ask while he's opening, is this for a particular section of road or is this just to have on hand? for all purposes?
Capital project rebuilding section of the Emden Road in Concord.
Okay, thanks. Wait something.
And this is from the Paris Farmers Union in Oxford, Maine. Their price per square yard is 64 cents for a total of $9,600. This is FW Webb. W. Webb out of Oakland, Maine. Their price per square yard is 70 cents for a total of $10,500. Not properties. There we go. Contractor's Choice UC from Windsor, Maine. Price per square yard is 78 cents for a total of $11,700. And last is Core, Maine from Westbrook, Maine. Their price is 58 cents a square yard for a total of $8,700.
Mr. Chairman, are there any delivery costs for this, or is there any mention of getting the product? Will there be additional costs for that?
Part of the,
That has to be delivered to where you need it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it all the same stuff?
different, I don't see what it is, but usually there's some people that are Mirify, that is their manufacturer. Other people have US. So it's similar material, but they may be different.
Is there a preference? Meaning one, you think one works better?
No, as long as it's equivalent. The equivalent we're looking for is US 315, and we specify that in the RFP or something of equal or of greater.
Okay.
So, because that was an excellent question, just read you the specs. The County of Somerset is seeking bids for approximately 30 rolls of polypropylene woven fabric, U.S. fabric 315, or a geotextile fabric of equal or greater quality. The roll should be 12.5 feet in width by approximately 360 feet in length. 500 square yards a roll for a total of 15,000 square yards. The 30 rolls are to be delivered to Kennebec Excavation, Sam White, 90 Cassidy Road in Moscow. Delivery date will be in late May.
Thank you, sir.
And Mr. Chairman, I'm sort of curious, the cheapest one, the last one, which is from Westbrook, I forget the name, which is substantially less than the most expensive one. Do they specify what kind of material that is? Do they say what they're?
No, but our specs specify what it has to be.
But when they say, I mean, how do we know it's not made in the East? You know, there's inferior. There's always a range of quality in various products, and if we had to buy one, I don't know, made in USA versus made in East Overshoe, wherever, it might be better to spend more money on a better product. I just don't know.
Well, it's the same product. It's U.S. Fabric 315.
Okay, that's what I want to know. It's all the same stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it might be.
Usually it's reviewed by Dave and the new, I guess.
Not the new, you haven't got rid of the old commissioner.
Okay, the old, okay. Yeah.
Since the lowest bid is a company I'm unfamiliar with, probably we might want to table the awarding of this so I can call it. Oh, wait a minute, you said it specified US 315?
Yeah.
Okay.
The U.S.
Then we'll
Fabric.
just accept the
Our it's right here. It's in our bid.
Well,
But you have to see
we
what
don't
they quoted.
specify, we say US 315 or equivalent,
Right.
and
So
we
maybe there's-
don't know if what they're giving us is something we're familiar with.
Well, you can always give them a call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not making a motion on this until later in the meeting, right?
Right.
Can we let him look at those while we're talking about
Of course. Yeah.
I'll get him for it. He can at least review them too. So maybe we can make a recommendation. Maybe
I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to get rid of it. He hasn't been into this with me for a while.
This is the problem we had 5 bit. A lot easier than just 1 bit.
That's good.
All right. So we're going to move on to consideration of a food sovereignty ordinance for Rockwood Township and or the entire Somerset unorganized territory.
So, just by way of introduction here, this was an email that was sent from our guests here, Leslie North and Kelsey Schreiner. And they sent the information to Dave, they sent information to me, and I believe they also sent information to Commissioner Cezak independently. And so we've had a chance to kind of do a little bit of legwork on this. The Food Sovereignty Act of the state of Maine was passed in 2017. Prior to that, several towns in Somerset County had already enacted food sovereignty ordinances. And since then, several have. In the map that I provided for you shows the number of the organized towns in Somerset that already have them in place. We debated whether or not to create a draft ordinance just for Rockwood or to create one that would encompass the entire 3 townships. And the only other county we're aware of is Aroostook County. And I think a couple of years ago, Aroostook did a similar ordinance for their entire unorganized territory. The Food Sovereignty Act allows towns, and in the cases of UTs, county commissioners, to enact these ordinances. But with that said, if it's okay with the chair, I would like to let Leslie and Kelsey speak to this instead of bringing it forward. So,
Yeah, we've already allotted them their time.
yeah, feel free to jump in here, ladies.
Okay. Kelsey, okay if I go first?
Absolutely.
Great, thank you. So, good afternoon, and thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. My name is Leslie North, and I live in Rockwood, one of the Somerset County's unorganized territories. I'd like to speak in support of establishing a food sovereignty framework for unorganized territories. At its core, this is about something very simple: allowing neighbors to feed neighbors. In community Rockwood, access to local food can be anytime residents have the ability to produce food, whether it's baking bread, raising chickens, or growing vegetables. And right now there's a disconnect. People can produce food, but they don't always have a clear, practical way to share or sell it within their own community. This proposal solves that in a very practical way. It creates a clear, limited framework for small-scale direct transactions between producers and consumers. Nothing more. This does not impact restaurants, grocery stores, or large-scale commercial operations. It doesn't change state or federal requirements for those activities. It simply allows local residents to participate in their own local food system. And the timing of this matters. Life in Maine, especially in rural areas like Rockwood and the unorganized territories, is highly seasonal. Many residents earn the bulk of their income in a short window of time, from June through October, and maybe a couple of months during the winter. The winters are long and mud season is quiet. This is the time when people plan how to make their short season more productive, how to support themselves, and how to support their neighbors. This request, in part, is part of that planning. Somebody asked, why not just do it anyway? Just do it. Well, the answer is simple, and most people want to follow the rules. They want to operate openly, responsibly, and without fear of penalties or uncertainty. This ordinance provides clarity for residents and for the county. It also ensures that residents of unorganized territories have access to the same opportunity already available in many towns across Maine. This is a low-risk, practical step that supports local food access, small-scale economic activity, and community resilience without creating new burdens on the county. This is a simple, low-risk step that gives residents a clear and responsible way to support themselves and each other, something I believe is worth saying yes to. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
I'm going to stop here just to see if any of the commissioners have questions for you. Anything at this moment, or do you want to wait till the end?
I would approve it.
Okay. Kelsey?
I am from Rockwood, Maine. I have worked in multiple jobs here. Mark Miller, Mark Jr., and I have a lot of other big names in Rockwood that would support this. But I want to show you just how much this would really, really matter to everyone in this community. It wouldn't just be about those big names here. It's about those small names that you don't hear about. Sorry, I get emotional with this. I want to make Rockwood and the Somerset County a community. I want everyone to feel safe and comfortable with growing their vegetables, being able to sell their vegetables, but in a safe place. I would love to help and support that. I would love to help and show anyone in this town, if they have chickens, they want to have a farm, they want to produce these vegetables, it's okay for them to produce these. We have crazy seasons here, and so with the farm access, the spring, summer, the weather changes here. So all of a sudden we can have an abundance of vegetables that just go to waste. And it'd just be so much better if we could have a little farm stand around town that we could support everyone else in town. Especially, the ones that are a little bit more elderly. They could come and drive by, they can grab free food, They could even, it's not even about selling, it's just more about showing that we can provide this for those that are struggling with providing themselves with these vegetables and these eggs, the bread. We want to show that we are a community here in Rockwood and we support everyone in the Somerset County. I cannot tell you how much I would appreciate for this to pass so that we can have a little farm stand for everyone just to come and unite, and if there's extra vegetables, anything of the earth, anyone can come by and just have some. It's just a great way to not lose some, like what Leslie saying, waste food and everything like that. We can actually provide it to people that actually really need it. Thank you so much for listening.
You're welcome. Questions?
From a strictly liability standpoint or enforcement standpoint, I have no problem with this. Do we have to enforce anything? Meaning, like, what if I don't even know how you would break the rule? How does it get enforced? And I know that there's like meat standards, and I don't know about vegetable standards, but who enforces that? And if someone was to sell something and say it was bad meat or whatnot, and someone got sick, are we liable because we put this in? If those things are okay, I'm good.
So if I could address that, and I looked at several different ordinances. The draft that is in your packet, it's a little wordy because it comes from Fairfield, but
I can't wait to call with them.
but it does address your questions. And in this draft, enforcement is basically up to the individual citizens of the unorganized. So it's kind of a self-policing type mechanism. The only other enforcement I saw is one of the towns had this enforced by the code officer, which I think is a heavy lift in a town, and it's nearly impossible to do in an unorganized territory.
What would you enforce? I don't even know if I'm asking the right question.
Exactly. So this is an ordinance that I can't really imagine violations of it unless somebody was selling meat, and there's a carve out in the.
I saw no meat.
So that may be an individual would report somebody.
Eggs or milk? Does that have to be passed? I mean, can you sell?
Yeah. So the other thing you asked about was liability. So producers and processors of local food may enter into private agreements with patrons to waive any liability. That's really one of the key elements of this ordinance. Is allows you to say, if I'm going to sell you eggs regularly or sell you milk regularly, we can enter into a private agreement that if you get botulism, you can't sue me. So, and maybe that's an extreme.
No, but that's on the producer to do that.
That's right.
Yep. Okay.
All right, Al, appreciate it.
I'm good.
It's pretty much old fashioned.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's why they address the community aspect.
Right.
This is the neighbor trust.
I had some reservations about this, and then I found out that Cornville, where I live, has an ordinance too, so which I was not aware of, since it has no impact on my daily life, which involves raising chickens, making cheese, raising vegetables, and making bread. So I don't really. This strikes me somewhat as a solution in search of a problem. And as I see what the operative sections of this, which I think are included, at least in the Fairfield one, the statements of law,
Yeah.
it says, one, the citizens have a right to form governance. That's sort of true anyway. They have a right to acquire and produce food. I think we already have that. It claims an exemption from licensure and inspection for sort of local food production, but it seems to me that the state of Maine wanted to, crack down on salmonella in the hen house or whatever. I don't think this ordinance would prevent them from doing so. It exempts meat and poultry, and the liability protection is already. People can always waive liability in private agreements, so it's sort of a feel-good ordinance. I don't really have a problem with it. I just don't understand, and maybe you can tell me. I mean, we have vegetable stands all over the place where I live. Is there someone that's telling you that you can't have a vegetable stand in Rockwood, Maine without this ordinance? Because that would be news to me.
But if I may respond to that, I think through all of the process, the bureaucracy, the requirements of getting a cottage license, and that involves going down to Skowhegan, going down to Augusta.
Excuse me, not to interrupt, but what kind of license?
Cottage.
The cottage license, which gave me the ability to sell and baked goods in the same environment. But it gave me the legal standing where I can put a license up in my booth to say that I can do this legally. But my point is that I had it took me almost 4 months to do it. I had to get my well tested. I had to get somebody came out from the county to inspect my property. I had to go to the expense of hiring a septic inspector. And most people in Rockwood can't afford that. And a lot of them don't even have a vehicle that can make it down the road to Greenville reliably, much less taking them all the way down to Skowhegan. So it's just an onerous process for most people who just want to sell their eggs or sell their bread or vegetables. And so people want to follow the rules. Right now the rules are if you want to sell that, you have to get a cottage license. And that's why we're trying to go this route, which eliminates the need for everybody to go out and get a cottage license like I did.
All right, thank you. It shows you how much I know. I didn't know I needed a license if I wanted to.
If you don't mind, if I don't, you don't mind if I say something
Please
too
do.
real quick? Okay, thank you. So where I'm coming from, Leslie, she's probably the best baker, sourdough baker in town, everywhere around Somerset. She sells to, bars, restaurants, and things like that. I am not personally looking to do that. And like she was just saying, I know that there are people out there that just want to give away their vegetables. They want to give away their eggs. It's, the ordinance is more for like a farm stand. So like what the commissioner was saying too, the reason why those farm stands have and able to do that is because you already have it in your town, that ordinance. And so what we're just looking to have here is that ordinance so people can do that. So we can just have a farm stand for people to put their things out there. and I'm gonna be comfortable enough to come and buy these things from here. Monthly, she will sell to stores, restaurants, and all the food stand, food corner, Target, and everything. It's the best friend is around town, but it's one of those things where we're just looking to have a community farm stand where it's going to be legal, like she was saying.
Thank you.
Sir?
Let's go ahead and go.
Is there a size at which you go away from this ordinance? So what Leslie has done, where she may have a bigger business, is there a point at which you would have to get a like well testing for bread making is probably a good thing, that the water's clean or whatnot. Is there a point at which you'd exceed this ordinance and then I've become so big I need to start a business?
No, for me personally, not at all. For everyone else, I cannot promise that, but for right now, those that want to sell to bars and stores, you need to have that licensing.
Okay.
This ordinance is literally, it's just for to have a farm stand.
Okay.
That's it. It's just right outside of your house. There's going to be labels and everything. There's going to be the food allergies. There's going to be everything that's noted for sure on every single product that is being sold or just given away. But it's more just for people to feel comfortable with giving away all the vegetables that we get abundance of. Because, like I said earlier, our spring season and our summer season, our vegetables can go crazy. And so we want to be able to give it away, or if you want to buy it, that's okay too. But we're not looking to give it to stores or bars or restaurants right now.
I'm looking at, on my phone here, I'm looking at Title VII of the Maine Revised Statutes, Section 286, which says compliance with food safety regulations. And this is the Maine Food Sovereignty Act. An individual who grows, produces, processes, or prepares food or food products for purposes other than direct producer to consumer transactions in the municipality, plantation, and otherwise territories governed by an ordinance authorized pursuant to Section 284 shall grow, produce, process, or prepare the food in compliance with all applicable state and federal food safety laws, rules, and regulations.
That it's wholesale versus retail.
Right.
So
Yeah,
that's
I'm good.
okay.
A sample would work better though. I'm just saying, you could have bought us off with some sourdough bread.
It did pass, and I was really coming down and buy some.
There is a
Unfortunately, Scotty, it's not passed a food sovereignty portion, so that's why we can't eat John's cheese and bread.
Just what John just read, that's in reference to prepared foods, bread, pies, anything that you would cook like that, and not in relationship to grown vegetables, tomatoes or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's just
No,
like-
grows, produces, processes, or prepares. So include everything
It does.
other than direct producer to consumer transactions.
Yeah.
So all that stays subject to regulation.
I refer you to a recent article in the local newspaper written by a fellow named Jay Shaw that asked this question: do you need a license to sell produce in Maine? So,
Well, you could argue, and I don't want to do it this afternoon, that if you're selling your bread to the local restaurant, that is not a direct producer to consumer transaction.
that's why she has a
But you're still going to need it.
Yeah, you're going to need that.
You're selling to restaurants, bars, or other wholesalers or retailers.
This doesn't cover.
I don't know if you can clarify, but she probably has to have the certifications and certificate as well.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting.
Can we move on this now, or is this the hearing part? Can we make a move on this now?
So the best practice, like when you pass an ordinance at town meeting, the best practice is to have a public hearing, and then after the public hearing, you can take a vote on it.
Can we call our next meeting the public hearing? And we have
You
to
certainly can.
Yeah.
You can. That will give you time to post it and all that.
need 30 days on it.
So we are going to plan to have a public hearing at our next meeting, which is 2 weeks from today. And it will be posted, and we'll turn on the Zoom, and the public will have its speak, and then we'll have our vote.
And there's no county, like a town has to approve an ordinance, that doesn't happen here.
You are town meeting.
We are town meeting.
Yep.
All right, cool.
We have the power.
We have the power.
By ordinance created. Yes.
All right.
So that would be the 15th, tax day. And this month has 5 Wednesdays in it, so good to go.
Is that sufficient notice to?
Yeah, 10 days is sufficient.
Okay.
So we'll post it tomorrow.
All right.
Okay.
We'll have an answer for you on the 15th.
See you then.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I can't sell my cheese anywhere because you have to heat it to 100.
So, moving along to our next workshop, which is review balances and commitments regarding the following county funds. Who wants to do that for us? Opioid settlement, community benefit, Bingham Win, and TIF NECEC.
So I refer to this document that's in your packets. I started it, Patrick finished it, and he's really good with Excel. And I believe that we had had some discussions amongst board members in regards to kind of where do we stand. So we tried to give you an idea of what the balance is of each of these funds and what is committed. Some of these funds are unique to Somerset County. Opioid settlement funds are to every county. Opioid settlement funds are fairly static. In other words, Patrick can go out on the website and he can tell you exactly what we're going to receive every year for the next 10 or 12 years. Current balance in that is around $664,000, and the commitments that we have of that is $50,000 annually to Reddington Fairview to provide a resource person in the jail to help people make sure that they are able to get the resources they need for their continued recovery, especially if they started a recovery program in the jail. Currently, right now, that $50,000 is not being covered by opioid funds because we have a grant that covers that. The other dedication is approximately $250,000 to go towards supplementing grants for Sublocade. Sublocade, as the sheriff has expressed many times, is a very effective yet very expensive medical assisted treatment, and we have a good success rate with it. We are hoping to be able to bridge to a point where this is covered by Maine Care. That requires a federal waiver, and so we've been told to maybe anticipate that by July of 2027. So whatever it is that we use for grants, the money we have from opioid settlements is used to offset that. I know that you heard from Kennebec Behavioral Health last time I was here, or last meeting I wasn't here, and I would just like to remind the board that we did spend a small amount of opioid funds, $6,200 to KBH about a year ago to help them with incentives for people to come to meetings, whether that's a gas card or whether that's a temporary cell phone or something like that. That's a program that they had that used to be funded through grants. Those grants went away, and so they came and made a request, and you awarded that to them. So it's not unheard of to offer small grants like that, but I think we all agree that their ask was a little bit over the top. So that's where we stand with opioid funds. The only other thing to add that we don't have figured in here is we've just signed on for 6 more. As these law cases come to a point, the Sackler case is not included in here yet. We've signed on to receive that. We don't know how much money that will be or how long it will be. And then there are 6 more companies that their cases are moving towards settlement. So there's a high likelihood that there will be more funds that will come our way over the next few years. And as you understand, 50% of this goes to the state when it comes in. The Attorney General's office has some purview over some of it, and then the rest of it is split up between the 16 counties and your major cities. So, any questions on opioid funds?
So we have funds available at 364 currently.
Mm-hmm. And I think you heard from the sheriff at the last meeting that we would like to stay the course with Sublocade until we get another source for that, like Medicaid.
Yeah. And do we have an anticipation on the decrease in grants? Meaning, I got this year's 250, but might have to do this for one more year until 27. Hopefully, and we get to do more than 250 next year with the potential loss of whatever revenue.
So one of the things that works in our favor is we have an arrangement with Dr. Elaine O'Connor, and she has run this program for 3 years with the sheriff. And she is a grant writing machine. And even this morning, she was trying to put in another grant through another state agency. She's really the reason that this has not exhausted all of our opioid settlement funds, because she's gotten 300,000 here, 500,000 here, and been able to continue to move this along. And it's successful. And that success rate breeds more grant opportunities. So, like I said, our strategy is to try to get to.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we don't need like 400,000. I want to support it. I don't want to go to 400,000 next year. We need all of a sudden we give it all money that we needed to run this program. That's all I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, we're continuously looking for grants. We can't say definitively, because we haven't been awarded grants or haven't been able to secure certain grants, what that need will actually be until we get closer to that time.
So preserving a balance is important in this category.
It's very important.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get to. Thank you.
And assume that part of this grant writing involves persuading the grant people that the program is very successful and works well, as we have heard.
But I don't think we need to persuade. I think the data shows that.
Well, that's what I was getting at, the data. I was sort of wondering, be interesting for me at least, to see how many people we've served.
We have all that. I can provide you with that kind of.
Because I don't know what the numbers are and whether.
I think
I'm just curious.
I think the success rate with Sublocade helps us. There's only 2 jails in the state that are using it, and part of the pushback that you get from the people that hold the grant funds for this is they'd rather see it outside of incarceration. They'd rather see it help people in homeless situations or help people before they become incarcerated. I think there's a need on both ends, but certainly our success rate has kind of helped us overcome that stigma. So. All right, the next column is community benefit funds. As you're aware, community benefit funds are tied to the Bingham Wynn project. It was a 20-year agreement to make a payment to the county. That is not necessarily taxation. This is not based on taxes. This is money that the Wynn project developers voluntarily set up. It's also in statute that they would do that for Wynn projects. So that's when people say, oh, it's taxpayer money. I agree, TIFs are taxpayer money. Opioid settlement and community benefit is not necessarily taxpayer money. So this is based on the amount of kilowatts that these windmills generate, and there's a CPI in this so that it increases every year. We currently have a balance of about $890,000. We have $162,000 in outstanding matching grant awards. In other words, these are matching grants that have been awarded, but the projects haven't been completed, and we haven't sent that money out. Keep in mind that May 9th is our next round of matching grants, so I expect over the next 4 weeks that we'll receive some more 10 or 12 applications and go through that process again. Also, when Dave had approached the board about putting up a $200,000 commitment to the West Forks for their CDS grant to ask for money to build a fire department, that is split. We haven't spent that money. It's just being earmarked right now to come 140 out of community benefit and 60 out of TIP. So those are the 2 major commitments. Also, the board has authorized Christian to offer loans using community benefit funds. And in that case, you have an outstanding balance that's being paid by the Moose Alley Riders of $9,500, the Valley Riders for $12,000. Those are snowmobile clubs. Maine Plywood in Bingham has an outstanding balance of $100,000. We keep hearing indications that that will be paid off and assumed by a larger USDA loan soon. So hopefully that's the case. And the spinning mill, you'll remember that the commissioners loaned the spinning mill from community benefit $100,000, and Christian was able to confirm that that was paid off last week. So that's paid off in full. So that money's back in the bank.
Yeah, but they haven't given us a check yet.
Christian
We're
has
sitting on that cash for a couple of years.
So that's not in your balance here. That 100 is not in the balance on the sheet.
That's correct. That'll be added to Christian.
And why did you split the 140 and 60?
Because our portion can only come from TIP for the UTs. The other portion of that 200,000 is used community benefit, which can be used anywhere.
Thank you.
So the force is not a UT. So that's what you're benefiting for.
Thank you.
So any other question on community benefit? As you can see there, that CPI raises the money. And again, the money that's coming in is static. So it's not going to vary, both for opioid and community benefit. Now, when you get to the two TIFs, that is the money that comes in, as you can see, it's listed here as all the same amount of money every year. That's not necessarily going to be the case because a TIF payment is determined by the mill rate. So as the mill rate in the UT changes year to year, the amount we receive from that TIF will change up or down, depending on the mill rate. For example, the mill rate went down in the UT because residential valuations went up so high. So we received less money from the Bingham Wind than we did in the past because the mill rate went down almost 2 points. So in the Bingham Wind TIF, we have 1.1 million, and there's the 60,000 I mentioned. And if you recall, when the commission passed the UT budget, they applied $400,000 in TIF to reduce taxes. Now that hasn't actually been spent, and you won't know how much of that 400,000 you will use until that UT budget is complete a year. But that's kind of why we wanted to put on there as commitment. The other thing, the 36,000, and you saw this at the budget committee, we pay a portion of SEDC, we pay a portion of the Kennebec Valley Tourism Council, and we pay our dues to Katie Cog out of TIF. So that makes up about $36,000. And the Premium Choice Broadband loan, which was a total of $500,000 a couple of years ago, that came out of TIF. And so the balance to come back to TIF is about $223,000. Any questions on the Bingham TIF? All right. The last one is a fairly new one, the Northeast Connect, the CMP corridor. I suspect that number of 493 is going to go up because the last year's tax payment, the corridor was not complete and not turned on. Now it's complete and turned on, so I presume the value is going to increase. But still, that's 28 years at almost $500,000 a year to come in. And again, Bingham Winds and the corridor TIF money only can be spent to the benefit of the unorganized territory.
So if we need to, carry $400,000 in the future for UT budgeting, we would be looking probably more towards that NECEC TIF rather than the other because it's going to carry that.
Yeah, that would be
that can offset that UT balance because it has to be used in those areas.
Exactly.
All right, just want to make sure I had it down. Thank you.
I will add another note. I was down at the State House watching the debate about the overall UT budgets. And there was there was an individual there who was watching it very closely from the forest products industry. And because in the UT, the large majority of land is owned by warehousers and those folks. And they had two concerns. One, they were concerned if commissioners try to pad their general fund budget by moving costs to the UT that are not necessarily all UT costs. The other thing they were concerned about was TIFs. And so we got talking in the hallway, and I gave the example. I said, we tried to reduce the tax impact to the UT by utilizing our TIF funds to offset taxes. And he said, that's great. That's ideally what we think it should be used for. So if you have large road projects that you need to do, instead of raising $1 million from the taxpayer, if you can supplement that with a little bit of your TIF funds, because TIFs do have an impact on all the taxpayers, because you're taking money out of the valuation that would be used to calculate everybody's mill rate. It's hard to come down to an apples-to-apples comparison, but, and every town knows this, right? Every town knows that whatever you have in a TIF, you get some revenue from that, but it affects everybody else's taxes. So,
Go ahead.
little irony for the guy that's got the big house on the lake on Moosehead, that a large tree company who has all their land in tree growth and is getting minimum tax is bitching because we're putting things in debt. I would have liked to have that conversation with that guy.
well,
He's already getting it in tree growth.
he's
They're not in retail. They're selling that lumber.
he's in the lobbying business.
Well,
Is he a very tall person?
No, I know who you're talking about. It wasn't.
He's a good guy.
It wasn't. This guy lobbies for about 10 different agencies.
the irony of tree growth versus tips. You know, I mean, they're getting the benefit on one side, but not wanting the benefit on the other. It can hurt.
So I believe that tree growth is going to come under some significant scrutiny in the near future, especially the next legislature. And one of the things that counties want to stay on top of is currently a town gets a 90% reimbursement on the taxes that they lose in tree growth. So if tree growth is got your land at $100 an acre and it should be valued at $500 an acre, that difference the state makes up to the town. Doing an oversight, and Maine Revenue admits this is an oversight, they never did that for the UT. And so the UT is not being reimbursed for the loss of 7 million acres that is in tree growth statewide. And my back of the napkin, calculation is that would add about $2 million to the state's portion of the UT budget, which would reduce everybody's taxes. So we'll be pushing for that in the next legislative session. Aroostook tried to put in a bill this year, but it didn't make it. So, well, I hope that was helpful. Thank you.
That's great.
Yeah, thank you.
Very.
Any other further questions or concerns?
As we bring these things forward, I think it's important to have the balances available and showing, like, we want this to come out of here, and that piece of paper working in the future, I think, is important to making those decisions.
I'm sure Dave and Patrick would be glad.
Moving on. No public hearings. New agenda items, commissioners only. All right. Administrators report.
So as most of you know, we had our first budget meeting on Monday. They were able to accomplish most everything with the exception of maintenance, the sheriff's office, and finance. And so they'll take that up at 6 o'clock, April 13th. I wanted to let you know that I've been invited to join a NACO, nationwide group, regarding county jails and mental health and behavioral health issues. I had my first Zoom meeting the other day, found it fascinating. There was a representative there that was a commissioner in Iowa. Iowa, I Googled, has 3.5 million people, a little over twice the size. How many counties? 99. How many county jails? 98. 99 sheriffs. So you think every county is different in name? Every state is. It is a huge undertaking to try to. But once you drill down to it, they have the same exact issues in their jail as we do. Not enough funding from the state, medical assisted, mental health issues, and so I find this fascinating. The only thing I wanted to remind you is that next meeting we will have a presentation from the Land Use Planning Commission. They're just giving an update. They're not asking for anything. They're just giving an update on their comprehensive land use plan and how that's going in unorganized areas. So they'll be
99.
What's that?
Sheriff was asking me.
Oh, I'm sorry. They'll be here next week.
So that'll be our workshop for.
That'll be a little workshop. Yep.
I had a question. Just looking at your summary, it's an update on Maine Hudson Trail. People of curiosity.
Yeah, Wolf Stone called me the other day. And again, he's probably preparing for a presentation in the future, but he hadn't got everything down to do that. He was telling me a little bit about Flagstaff and a few other areas that I'm not really familiar with, but I believe that he will probably be making an application for some TIF loans for a project. But it was good to hear from him, and everything he said seemed to be positive. It seemed to be moving in the right direction about their board development, about some of the improvements that they've been able to make.
Okay.
That's all I had.
Would you like to talk about the vote that was taking place yesterday in the House about the LD 2232?
So LD 2232 is the jail funding bill, which raises statewide jail funding from 20 million to 30 million. Got good support in the House of Representatives. It passed 121 to 17. So good bipartisan support. It's in the Senate now. We're hoping for the same bipartisan support there. Then it will sit on appropriations, and that's really what it comes down to, whether or not they fund it or not. But talking about incremental steps. For the first time, the Standards Council was able to get a bill this significant out of committee, and it's now passed the House. So these are things that haven't happened before. So we're pleased with the program.
Do you know when the Senate is going to take the bill up for a vote?
I don't know.
Well, session ends the 15th, I think, correct?
I know.
It'll be soon.
Oh, yeah. No, I just didn't know if it was going to be this week or next.
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. And that's it for you, Tim?
Yeah.
Thank you. Finance reports.
Finance. There's no really major change in our current finances that I've already explained during the budget meetings and so on. There is one thing that we've got to keep our eye on, and I don't know, maybe you have some information, but we still haven't received any payments when it comes to the EMA operational grant. It was on hold, but I think the fund's supposed to be released. No?
Still on hold.
So there was discussion during the budget meeting, what is the chances that the $78,000 would not be funded? Well, we're going through that right now at the present time because we haven't received any of that.
Those probably won't be released until after the budget is passed for DHS, Homeland Security, because that's underneath Homeland Security.
So right now, that's probably the only thing to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
You did mention that you would like to go over the recent Moody's report.
Yeah, just a quick.
I don't know, do you guys have a copy of the first page of the Moody's report?
That what you emailed us? Yeah. But yeah, it'd be my email, but thank you. This is good.
Okay, then you should focus more on the percentages than the numbers, because if you compare on the right-hand column, you see that where it says 2025, then it's the AA median. Well, that's like the median of the I guess the AA represents the high medium. You can see when it comes to full value, which is the second line under economy, we're sitting at roughly $8.7 billion worth of property value, while the typical AA median county is at 10.4. So we're only 20% below that. But if you go down to, let's see, the first line after the financial performance says revenue. That's the tax revenue that's being brought in the sense of we got $27 million in expenses to cover, Well, they're at 110. So the counties outside of Maine have a lot more responsibilities, so they collect a lot more property tax. But if you look at the ratios, if under the financial performance, available fund balance, this is what we look for the 20% ratio. We're currently at 71.6%. I mean, 71.6%, and the median is at 44.6. So when it comes to Maine and they set the 20% standard, that's pretty aggressive when you compare it to the rest of the country, which is sitting at roughly at 44.6. But so the financial performance values, if our percentage is higher than the need, that's a good thing. So the liquidity ratio is at 81.4 compared to 80, so we're favorable in that respect. But then if you go down to leverage and fixed cost, the lower the percentage, the better you're doing. So long-term liability ratio, you can see in 2022 we had 91%. That's because of the bond. Bond went away. Now we're down to 45.3 compared to the other counties at 123%. And then the fixed cost ratio, we're at roughly 3%, which is half of what the rest of them are. So financially, we're doing fine. As we work our way down to closer to that 20% range, unfortunately, you're going to see these values worsen, but not in a bad respect, in the sense that we're giving tax breaks to the our residents as we fine tune down to that 20%. Any questions?
No, I'll clear it up. Thank you. And our rating is AA3.
Yes.
Is there a definition of AA3?
Well, the AA is the top, then you got 1, 2, and 3. We're in the AA, which is the high ratios, but we're at the lower level of the high ratios.
Yeah. No, we're not in the B's.
No.
What do we have to do to be number one? What are we doing wrong?
Well, if you want to be misers and collect a lot of property tax, you can do it.
Okay. That's okay.
It is. It's if you have huge reserves, then you're going to be very financially stable.
And this is all just getting rates on the bond.
Right.
That's the only thing this is used for.
Yeah.
We go up to more money, and the reason we went up is we paid our bond off.
Yeah.
The next bond will put us right back in territory we probably don't want to be in.
Well, we're doing a new jail.
A new wing.
A new wing.
I heard a new wing. No, that's a joke.
That is a joke. That's a joke. Can we on the paper?
We're not going to go out. We're going to go out. Thank you. Anything further? Any other questions or comments? Okay. Jay, we might as well.
The main thing happening currently is snowmobile season's about done. I'm getting the final reimbursement applications, which I double checked and then sent them on to Augusta. So that's where part of my time is being spent. The rest is just normal day-to-day routine.
And we're also sitting here wondering if there's anything on the ground cloth.
On the what?
The ground cloth? That we-
Geotextiles.
Did you?
Oh, yeah, I've got the answer to that. Want me to deliver it now? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. I did call the company that has the lowest bid. They're one I was unfamiliar with. And they satisfied my curiosity about their bid because their fabric is not one I'm familiar with. But he does sell those. And what he has is basically a store brand. He just buys and puts their company's name on it. But this is the recommended one. It's the lowest bid. And
Oh, okay.
they have their material is called Earth Saver, and it's the same material other companies use. There's a different name on it.
Ah,
So
Yeah.
He's at a convention right now down in Worcester, Massachusetts, big one on water material, on controlling water flow, et cetera. And he satisfied me, so I think that's my recommendation.
Okay, very good.
Okay, good.
Thank you. Anything further? Any other questions or comments for David?
Yeah, I run that snowmobile reimbursement by me again. What happens there?
State runs a program that we're involved with. It's called the Municipal Grant Program. And each town, if your snowmobile club is in a town, they apply for the grant to the town. And in the UTs, they have to apply to the county. So in the fall, all of the snowmobile clubs in the UTs send in what they want to do for work. I compile it into one report. I send that off to Augusta. They go through it all. They have approved expenses, and some they just say, no, we're not going to finance that. So I let the companies, snowmobile clubs, know what their approved costs are. They're allowed to spend whatever they want to spend. Their reimbursements are capped at a certain number. It's 70% of the approved cost is reimbursed in a grant. So everything goes in combined in the fall, but in the spring, their reimbursements go in separately. And then we get the check back to us, and then it's dispersed to the clubs from us. So we're like the middlemen. We have no money involved in this. We just kind of keep control of things, make sure what we need for information is gathered and then sent to us.
All right, thank you. Sheriff?
Not a lot, clearly, in our the budget season, but biggest issue is the jail administrator is down on Friday, working on some possible viable solutions to that.
In respect to the budget, how do you feel that it is, the budget is working in respect of getting a detective you've asked for and some other things?
Well, we'll know on the 13th. Clearly, the work would indicate that there's a need, and we'll talk to the budget committee at that point.
Yeah, I just was wondering what the impact of that, as Megan said, it would create more cases, even though they're cleaner cases.
Well, cleaner is a word that can be received by defense attorneys by not.
Large definition.
But the flip side of it, if it might cause the DA's office more work,
Right.
But that would be crimes being solved. So I err to the side of the crime being solved.
Without exposing any trade secrets, do you do much, if any, triaging for when it comes to what you pick and choose?
So we have an abundance of cases, and especially with some drug cases, we do prioritize because they are complicated and can be lengthy investigations.
Well, you've been doing a good job of those.
My team has, yes.
Yeah. When I say you, I mean the team. Yeah. Don?
Do you anticipate a larger need to replace your jail administrator than you currently have allocated? Do we need to anticipate some budget issues there?
I'm working on a solution right now. So to answer that question, if this solution is viable, the short answer would be no. Looking around the state as far as what the value that is put on a jail administrator, that answer might be yes. But Here's the deal. So,
Don't give anything away. I mean, I just, it's in your thought.
yeah, it's very much.
And I just want it to be in our thought that it may not be in the budget. Because the jail budget was set the other night, am I correct?
Right. Yes, it was. They approved that.
And it wasn't approved.
It was approved at the level of a jail administrator, not.
But I don't think that would impact the cap. It would impact the amount of undesignated fund balance we offset.
Want to make sure we're thinking down the road.
We're very much thinking about that.
Yeah, I think where we stand now, we're not impacting the cap, which is a good thing.
I think it was a very wise decision to keep that cap.
I think you should.
Just some quick department updates. As Patrick mentioned, we haven't seen a single federal dollar come in. We're not going to. The last correspondence I received from the state was on February 3rd, citing that grants are on hold, needing additional information, and that's truly the vague information we got. So I haven't heard anything. I can inquire, but I'm sure I'll get the same answer. More excitingly, we just participated in a regional emergency operations center exercise with 4 other counties. It went awesome. We learned a lot, and we're able to revise our plans to fit the scope of our needs. So that was really cool. April 10th, I'll be representing Somerset County EMA at the County Day at the State House. So it's great to have us there. Some of the bigger counties will be there, so it's good to have rural representation as well. We did just create an inaugural newsletter, so if you're curious to know what we're up to as a department, check out our newsletter. It should have gone to everybody on the board. We've been very excited about the work we've been up to the last several months, so give it a look. And then finally, we, as the Maine County Directors Council, we just updated our mutual aid agreement. That essentially just outlines what it would look like if our county had to deploy to help out Waldo County if they had a major event, and vice versa if we needed to come here and help us manage an incident. So the last revision was from 2021, and yeah, it's on the docket for later. So if you have any questions, let me know.
Is there any questions?
How do we pay her if we don't get these grants? How much of a budget do we have to fill in, and how do we get it?
It'd be 78,000 that we would miss, and currently the general fund is running at a positive 400,000. So I don't think it'll be an issue this year. We'll have to keep an eye on it if it does occur next year.
The budgets are passed cumulative. Yep. So we set a budget of 530,000 for Deidre. If something happens, if people stop buying houses and Deeds only brings in 400,000 revenue, it just gets adjusted overall. Yep. The real impact would be in the following year's budget. If this becomes a trend where we know we're not getting this anymore, then we just have to eliminate that, and that rate is taxed.
Right, thank you. I'm going to move on to,
You don't want to hear from Christian Sal?
oh, Christian, yeah.
Well, I'll be brief.
You didn't bring us treats, so I.
Clearing Sim mentioned paid, I think, 3.5 years early. Also, SCDC and the town of Skowhegan. So that was really a quick turnaround on the flood disaster of 23. I am meeting with a group. I've had some conversations. Essentially, they're investing in rural communities and new market tax credits, 1 to 10 million. So we're trying to find businesses that might need that much. And so they'll be in town next week. We helped 2 applications for the CDS, kind of Bingham and Trail Club, essentially apply and sit back and then wait some more. And then at our board meeting tomorrow, we do have representation from SAPI coming. I know TNC is willing to talk to anyone. I don't know if the commission would want to entertain that at all. If so, we can help you set that up. I think a lot of people's viewpoints are made up, but what we're gonna do is hear from Sappy and then probably TNC at a future meeting, so. Make those connections. And whatever Sappy provides to us, as long as they sign off on it, I can share with the commission some details to it. That's it.
And Joel and I will be there tomorrow for that meeting. And
Very good.
Yeah, Della.
So we're all set? Okay. Now I can move on to new business. Resolution 2654 to authorize the 2026 Maine County Emergency Management Mutual Aid Agreement. Discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Unorganized Territory, Resolution 2655 to award a bid for geotech fabric to use in road maintenance in the Somerset County Unorganized Territory 2, Core and Maine, for a sum of $8,700.
A second.
Okay, move to second. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you. Warrants, Resolution 2656 to approve the treasurer's warrant for general funds, Somerset County Jail and unorganized territories for a total of $464,145.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor? Okay, it's a go. Miscellaneous discussion items, commissioners only. Good. Thank you. Recess to execute documents.
You're on.
You're going
No, it's Somerset Economic Development. We're having it tomorrow. It's hey Christian. Yeah. Christian, is that meeting at the Spain tomorrow?
The bids are here. Well, no, it's
Sounds like
What's the meeting tomorrow?
I'm sorry, sir.
What's the meeting tomorrow?
The meeting tomorrow is Somerset Economic Development.
Oh, okay.
Mike's moving on.
We are meeting. Happy's coming for a time of just on our schedule.
There was that.
I'm still mystified. This thing,
Well, I was happy to see Mike move in. That's fine.